Today, Tesla CEO Elon Musk changes his mind about accepting Bitcoin as payment. How did the news affect the crypto market? No credit score? That might be less of a problem when the fall comes. Banks are planning to give credit cards to those without a score. And companies are paying producers significantly more for things like raw materials and food. Prices are rising faster than any time in record. That and much more, coming up at NTD Business. Good evening. Great to have you with us. Gas shortages are easing in some states, but worsening in others. Colonial Pipeline is still trying to bring one of the country's most important fuel pipelines back online. GasBuddy says shortages worsened in Florida, Maryland, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Mississippi, with over 15,000 gas stations dry in the eastern United States. But the pipeline company and the government says service is being restored.
As of yesterday evening, Colonial has begun restarting the flow of refined products in their pipeline. This morning, Colonial reported that fuel is beginning to flow to a majority of the markets that they service, and they should be reaching full operational capacity as we speak, as I speak to you right now.
But Biden thinks it'll take some time before things are back to normal. He says turning on a gas pipeline isn't like flicking on a light switch. The gas line system supplies 45% of gas for the Southeast. Hackers shut it down until Colonial Pipeline reportedly paid a $5 million ransom. Experts believe the resulting panic buying was more the cause of the fuel shortage than the shutdown itself. Biden still urges Americans not to panic buy gas. So we have chaos in the energy world, and we have chaos in the crypto world. The market tanked today after Elon Musk said Tesla is dropping its pay with Bitcoin option. Musk says it hurts the environment. NTD's Phil Zoe has the details.
Tesla is suspending Bitcoin payments. Elon Musk says he's concerned about the energy consumption from Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin crashed at least 10% to around $47,000 after the tweet. It's even worse for the entire crypto market, dropping over $300 billion. One expert says that Tesla news is spreading fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
The value proposition of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general is getting more important than ever, especially with inflation creeping up here.
Tesla said it will not sell its Bitcoin holdings and will consider Bitcoin payment again once the mining operation shifts to a more sustainable energy.
The important thing is that he's really betting with his money here by continuing to hold Bitcoin on the Tesla balance sheet.
Barton says Tesla is trying to enter the energy credit market, which the Biden administration is leading.
I think he's sort of signaling to regulators here that hey, Tesla is very environmentally conscious.
Musk says Tesla is considering other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy consumption. Cardano, a top 5 crypto, started trending on Twitter as the frontrunner. The crypto skyrocketed to a new all-time high of nearly $2. Barton recommends that Tesla use Ethereum instead, the second biggest crypto, behind only Bitcoin. Phil Zoe, NTD News.
Bitcoin mining uses about the same amount of energy annually as the Netherlands did in 2019, but 70% of the mining is done in China. And Wall Street ended much higher today after bouncing back from 3 straight days of selling. The Dow rose 434 points, 1.29%. S&P 500 gained about 50 points, 1.22%. The Nasdaq added 93 points, or 0.72%. The tech stocks that were hit hard earlier in the week were among the biggest gainers today. Apple, Microsoft, Google, parent Alphabet all rising. Energy stocks, though, lost ground, weighed down by a drop in crude prices today. WTI and Brent both down 3%. Bond yields also fell. 10-year Treasury yield sitting at about 1.66% now, and gold inched up just a little today. Amazon is planning to add 75,000 workers in the U.S. and Canada. Seems to be mainly the warehouse and delivery jobs. You could get a $1,000 sign-up bonus and an extra $100 if you're vaccinated. The average starting pay is around $17 per hour. Amazon recently boosted pay by between 50 cents and $3 an hour for about 500,000 warehouse workers in the U.S. It's also rolled out CCP virus vaccination events at some warehouses. Fewer Americans filed new claims for unemployment benefits last week. Good news. It's as companies held on to their workers as others struggle to find help. The Labor Department says the number of new claims dropped to 473,000 last week. Sounds high, but it's actually the lowest level since March last year. It comes as businesses struggle to find workers. Some have blamed the generous unemployment benefits from the federal government, so businesses are now offering higher wages to entice people back. Some experts note that this could add fuel to the inflationary pressures that we're seeing. Yesterday, we had the Consumer Price Index that showed the prices of things at stores are rising. Today, we learn the prices companies are paying producers are also rising fast. Everything from steel to meat. The PPI rose 0.6% in March. That's 6.2% year over year, the largest increase since records began in 2010. Tressa's chief economist Daniel LaCalle and I have been discussing the threat of inflation since the world's central banks put the money printers into overdrive last year. LaCalle says the inflation we're seeing right now is not transitory, as the Federal Reserve says. He thinks it'll get worse. And to make things even worse, wages are pretty much flat. Many are blaming lockdown-induced supply chain problems for the rising prices. But LaCalle says most sectors overproduced in 2018, 2019, and 2020, and so had plenty of stock on hand. Instead, he says the value of the dollar and other currencies too is simply being debased, losing its value.
If we look at 2018 and 2019, there was overall a widespread level of overcapacity in most industries and most commodities. In 2020, throughout the crisis, massive liquidity injections and low interest rates have perpetuated overcapacity in the vast majority of sectors globally. So when you look at the price increase, it does not come from supply shortages, it does not come from supply chain disruptions, it comes from monetary debasement. There are some commodities that are rising faster because of some supply shortages, but the correlation in the rise in prices of commodities and goods and services is showing that it's a monetary effect. In fact, inflation is always a monetary effect. Oil prices go up. Why? Because more money is looking at scarce assets. No? So we need to pay attention to that because central banks are simply ignoring that fact.
When we talk about printing money, sometimes we have stimulus checks from the government. Other times it's the central banks who are doing it. Maybe somebody with your insight, what exactly is happening here? Who gets the blame on this?
Well, both government and the central bank are to blame, obviously. It might seem attractive from the citizen's viewpoint to receive a check that is paid with nothing, that is paid with debt and money printing. But what you see is that check and that check's purchasing power is losing its ability to purchase goods and services, and it's burning down in your pocket. So the idea that the government gives you free money may seem appealing until you realize that they basically get it back via inflation. Inflation is the tax on the poor.
Daniel Kaya, Tresses. And a new survey says credit card debt may be a bigger problem for college students in the future. AIG Retirement Services and EverFi released this study Wednesday. Researchers surveyed over 20,000 college students nationwide. They found more have credit cards than a year ago, with 53% charging to 2 or more credit cards, up from 41% a year ago. Almost 2 out of 5 students don't expect to pay their entire credit card bill each month. That means they'll just have to pay interest. The researchers say the increased reliance on credit cards has the potential for future financial problems. Be warned. And for decades, it's been no credit, score no credit. But now big banks are considering giving credit cards to people without a credit score. NTD's Sapphire Quarter explains how it would work.
Banks are planning to give credit cards to people with no credit scores by looking at applicants' accounts from other financial institutions, greatly increasing their chances.
53 million people can't be scored under the traditional methods. A lot of these are young adults and immigrants, people that are new to the credit system.
Banks may look at account balances over time and a number of returned checks, as well as overdraft histories, when you draw out more than what's in the account.
That's something that doesn't traditionally count in your credit score, but it's a very similar behavior, right? I mean, credit scores are looking at, do you pay your bills on time? Do you keep your debts low?
Around 10 banks like the idea. JP Morgan will likely be the first to implement it, maybe as soon as this fall. If you don't have a credit score, Rosman recommends programs like Experian Boost and eCredible, which pull in behaviors that don't traditionally count toward your score, such as phone bills, rent, and utility payments. Two more options are the Petal and Tomo cards, which take a detailed look at your finances. They can improve people who might otherwise be denied. Sapphire Quarter, NTD News.
Ford is redesigning parts of its cars to deal with the global computer chip shortage. CEO Jim Farrelly says they're redesigning components to work with chips that are more accessible. They're also looking at other long-term changes, like building a buffer of supply chips or getting chips directly from chip makers. Farrelly says about 60% of the chips used in Ford's vehicles are 55 nanometer or larger, and supply of those chips is constrained. Ford estimates the chip shortage could cost it $2.5 billion this year. South Korea's big firms and its government are trying to tackle the crisis too. Samsung says it will invest $150 billion in non-memory chips by 2030. Non-memory chips are used to process data but not store it. Think a computer CPU, for example. A local rival and other big names in South Korea are also spending big. The country's Chip Industry Association says over 100 companies plan to invest a total of $450 billion. The government will also help. Today it announced tax breaks and loans for the industry worth nearly $900 million. And Boeing's 737 MAX is returning to the sky. The company says it won approval from regulators to fix an electrical issue that affected about 100 of its planes. Kira Lee reports.
Boeing has won approval from US regulators for a fix to an electrical grounding issue that had affected about 100 737 MAX airplanes. An FAA official confirmed the news. The announcement is a relief for US air carriers that have been waiting to get the planes back into service before the summer travel season, particularly as travel demand begins to improve. The FAA administrator said he was fully confident in the safety of the MAX. It was approved to return to service in November 2020, following 2 fatal crashes that killed 346 people. The electrical issue reportedly emerged after Boeing changed a manufacturing method as it worked to speed up production of the jetliner. The top 3 US 737 MAX operators, Southwest Airlines, American Airlines and United Airlines, removed more than 60 jets from service after the notice from Boeing.
Google says it's won a deal with Elon Musk's Spacex to provide cloud computer services for its satellite internet. Spacex will set up ground station at Google's data centers, which will connect to the Starlink satellites. Google expects the service to be available in the second half of 2021 for business customers. Demand for cloud computing is hot, with players like Microsoft and Amazon dominating the market. But Google will have to pay a large fine in Italy, over $120 million. It's for blocking an app for electric vehicles from its Android Auto system. NTD's Patrick Hayden has the details.
Italy's competition regulator has fined Google $123 million. That's for excluding Enel's e-mobility app from the Android system. For more than 2 years, Google has not allowed Enel's Juice Pass app to operate on Android Auto. The app is for finding and booking EV charging stations. The regulator says Google blocked it in favor of Google Maps. It says the contested behavior can influence the development of e-mobility in a crucial phase, and that has a negative effect on the growth of electric vehicles. Google has now been ordered to put Juice Pass on Android Auto. Google says it respectfully disagrees with the antitrust regulator's decision and is considering next steps. Patrick Hayden, NTD News, London.
We reported recently that China hit Alibaba with a record fine. It was part of an effort to tighten control in its tech sector, you might remember. Now Alibaba has reported its first operating loss because of the fine. NTD's Evelyn Lee has the details.
Chinese company Alibaba posted its very first operating loss as a public company Thursday. That's after it received a massive antitrust fine last month. In a press statement, Alibaba says that excluding the fine, the company's income amounts to almost 11 billion yuan, or $1.6 billion. That's a 48% year-over-year increase. Its U.S.-listed shares fell more than 3% in volatile pre-market trading, even though the company forecast for 2022 revenue is above market expectations. But the strong outlook was overshadowed by a regulatory crackdown in China. China's market regulator fined Alibaba a record $2.8 billion for anti-competitive business practices. It also suspended the IPO of its affiliate Ant Group, which was set to be the largest IPO ever. Alibaba's U.S.-listed shares hit a record high in late October. They fell more than 30% since then when its founder, Jack Ma, delivered a speech in Shanghai criticizing China's financial regulators. Evelyn Lee, NTD News.
And the UK government plans to ban junk food advertising online and on TV before 9 p.m. But it's already facing backlash from an already reeling hospitality sector. NTD's Patrick Hayden has more.
UK restaurants, cafes and bakeries are facing threats to their social media after ministers banned junk food from being advertised online. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson also plans to fight obesity by banning junk food adverts on TV before 9 p.m. The plans have sparked a backlash from the hospitality and advertising sectors. A Federation of Small Businesses spokesman says if a chip shop has images of cod and chips censored online, then we're clearly straying into the absurd. He says this comes as the food and drink sector is working flat out to get back on their feet as COVID restrictions ease. The Adam Smith Institute says the ban will make it illegal to advertise online for British favourites like fish and chips, Cornish pasties and a full English breakfast. They say the government's own impact assessment says it will reduce children's consumption by less than 3 calories per day. The Institute says this will have practically no impact on obesity, but will put thousands of jobs at risk. Patrick Hayden, NTD News, London.
Still to come. Do you like to take naps? Well, we have a dream job for you. The company's paying people just to snooze. And a world-famous chef prepares to reopen her restaurant, and it's been so popular, 3 months of bookings sold out in just a few minutes. That and more after this short break.
In uncertain times, people rush to buy physical gold and silver. It's strong, solid, dependable. Now is the time to buy from the trusted source, Westminster Mint. With 20 years experience, an A+ BBB rating, and our unconditional 30-day money-back guarantee, Westminster Mint is America's dealer. The best value in gold coins today is this newly released 2021 $50 American Gold Eagle coin, certified a perfect 70 by the world's largest grading service, NGC. At 1 full ounce of pure gold, this 2021 Gold Eagle is the biggest and most beautiful coin struck for circulation. Get yours now while you can at our exclusive low price. Call right now and get the Gold Eagle's perfect companion, the 2021 Silver Eagle, absolutely free with your purchase. With free shipping and a 30-day money-back guarantee, Westminster Mint is America's dealer. Hurry for your early release 2021 American Gold Eagle and free Silver Eagle before they're gone. Call now.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
If you like to take a nap every day, this could be your dream job. A company called eachnight.com, which offers tips about sleep health and mattress reviews, is hiring a team of 5 nap reviewers. It's possible to start right away, but you have to be willing to take a nap every day for 30 straight days and then write about the experience. Each Night is trying to test out theories about the pros and cons about taking daily naps. The pay is $50 per nap or $1,500 over the month-long period. Applicants have to be over 18 and must apply by May 31st. And if you're interested, you can go to Each Night's website to fill out an application. What pioneering American woman would you like to see featured in a run of U.S. quarters? The National Women's History Museum wants to know your ideas for the new American Women Quarters program. The person you pick has to be dead. So far, poet Maya Angelou and astronaut Sally Ride have earned the honor. Coins with their likeness will be out next year. Their faces will be on the back side of quarters with First President George Washington on the front. Up to 5 American female icons can be selected. World-famous British chef Claire Smith sold out 3 months of bookings in just 20 minutes when her restaurant said it would reopen. Just underscores her faith that London is ready to rebound. Emer McCarthy reports.
At Core Restaurant in London's trendy Notting Hill, 3 Michelin-starred chef Claire Smith and her team are preparing to reopen their doors on Monday.
It's been a long time, this one. I'm super excited, can't wait to get the guests through the door. It's going to be quite emotional, and the whole team is absolutely pumping and on fire.
And they're going to need that enthusiasm. Smith sold out 3 months of bookings in 20 minutes when her restaurant said it would emerge from lockdown. The 42-year-old won the highest accolade in fine dining in January when all restaurants were shut. During the health crisis, she trained her staff online for hours a day, cooked through charities for 600 people a week, and created a tasting menu for customers to be sent out in London. That helped to retain all her staff and keep suppliers in business, but it was a challenge.
We were all so shocked. We didn't know what would happen, didn't know what the future held, and I didn't even know if restaurants were going to exist again.
While excitement about reopening next week is tangible, Smith worries that the broader industry is yet to feel the full force of the global health crisis. Costs have jumped, rent arrears have ballooned, and skilled European staff have left the country. Trade group UK Hospitality has estimated that in the year after the first lockdown in March 2020, 1 in 5 restaurants shut. Those still standing have to establish how they will pay back rent and government loans. But for now, it's all about getting ready to welcome diners back for the first time this year.
I think people appreciate it more than ever, going out and just having that experience. I think cooking at home is one thing, and having delivery boxes is another, but going somewhere with an atmosphere and having people serve and cook for you is a completely different thing.
That's the latest business updates for today. You can still catch NTD Evening News with Stephanie Cox. That starts at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. For NTD Business, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
What does it mean to devote your life to the truth? Does it mean investigating communist subversion here in America? Does it mean exposing the deadly fentanyl crisis in the Midwest? Or spending late nights and covering deep government corruption? Does it mean persevering over 20 years, even after 4 masked men set one of our printing presses on fire last year? Because at a time when America's traditional values are under attack, it's the responsibility of righteous journalists to uphold truth and tradition.